Hopefully the recording will come out good and everybody that watches through replay will be able to get to watch the replay. Just a couple of quick announcements before we get started. Um, Next week is September the 1st, which is actually a holiday here in the U.S., Labor Day, which I never have really understood why people want to take off on Labor Day. You think it'd be the opposite. That's the day you're supposed to labor. But anyway, we are going to have a webinar next Monday, even though it is a holiday. And maybe some people will be cooking out and maybe not be able to make it, but most of us will still be here, and I'm going to go ahead and have the webinar anyway. And actually, the second part of the announcement is going to be officially launching the Here to Help You webinar series next month, next Monday actually. The 15th will actually make 6 months that I've been trying this project, and so far it seems like everybody's interested in it. I'm getting several people that show up to the calls. Haven't had as many as I'd like to have, but I'm going to work on getting more people to the calls starting next month, since I'm going to officially kick this off with something I'm definitely going to do on Monday nights. So hopefully starting next month we can start seeing some more people come in here, and if we get enough people in here, I can get some other people in here live to do presentations instead of having them send me videos. When I tell them how many people usually come, they're willing to send a video, but they don't want to take time out of their day to do a live call. Most of them don't. So hopefully if I can get more people to come, we can actually get somebody on here live occasionally to do a demonstration for us. But I wanted to thank you guys for making this a success. When I first did this in March, I wasn't sure how well it was going to work out. And of course, those of you that were on the very first call back in March, you remember I sent out a SurveyMonkey questionnaire asking people, various questions about their business status and where they're at online, and if they'd be willing to come to a weekly webinar like this, so that they could have, somebody to ask questions to and show little demos of how to do things. And like I said, it's worked out really well. We have an average of about 15 to 35 people that show up. I think the most I've ever seen on here was 44 or 49, something like that. But we have an average of about 15 or so, so that's pretty good. I feel confident, that we can boost that. And like I said, if we start getting more people in here, we'll be able to attract some people in here to do some live demos for us. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for making this a success. I've wanted to do this for a long time, and it's actually not my original idea. I'll tell you that. There's lots of people that do these type of webinars where they just come on to do a demo and let people ask them questions. So I've been to a few of those. They don't do them on a regular basis, but I wanted to try to do one on a regular basis on Monday evenings, so everybody would know to set aside Monday evenings to try to come to the call if it could. Now the good news is, even though I don't get that many people on the calls, I do get a lot of people that watch the replays. On average, there's about 180 to 200 people that watch the replays. So that tells me the time slot may not be good for a lot of people, or maybe people work shifts where they can't make it to the live call. But like I said, we are getting a lot of people that watch the replays. So I feel confident that these webinars are helping people. And like I said, I'm glad to do them. That's the whole purpose of doing these. Just to give you guys, some short little demonstration on something and answer your questions and give you live answers on the spot if I can. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started with our little presentation for tonight, and then I'll take some questions that I gotten through emails on the email form. It's on the replays, and then we'll take your guys' live questions after that. So let's get the presentation loaded up here. And of course, during the presentation, if you need to ask questions, you can. I try to do these through the software so I don't have to drop out to the desktop so much. Open up the chat so I can see it again. Okay, what we're going to talk about tonight is how to distribute customer lead magnets using Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, and your blog. Okay, the first question you probably ask, what is a customer lead magnet? It's basically the free content that you give away to attract your intended customers Things like ebook PDFs, videos, audios, PowerPoint slideshows, just about anything that you can download, give somebody to download to their computer that they can read or watch or listen to on their own. And generally you've created or obtained rights to it to give away. It may not be something that you've created yourself, it may be something that you have the rights to be able to give it away. And in this case we're talking about PLR that you may have reworked to make it something original to you. Okay, so why use lead magnets? First off, it helps to establish yourself as an expert in your niche. And then the second, it gives people a chance to see a sample of what kind of knowledge you have in your niche. Now, when dealing with customer lead magnets, and again, we're talking about primarily the social networks, Facebook and Twitter, and we're going to talk about Amazon a little bit, but primarily Facebook and Twitter. What doesn't work anymore is forcing people to opt in to get the material. People on Facebook are kind of worn out on that. Using the like and share gates, it doesn't work as well as it did when they were first came out with them. I know myself, if I go see a link in somebody's news feed and they're offering some sort of a video or a report or something, and I have to do a like or share it to be able to get to it, I'm most of the time don't do it, and that's the way it's getting to be with most people on Facebook now. They're tired of that, and the same with Twitter. Twitter doesn't like it. The people on Twitter doesn't like that either anymore. You still have people that will do it. If they really want the content, they'll do it. But the conversion rate of people actually going through with the like share gates is really dropped, and it's not really worth the effort. You're really hurting yourself by doing that. And again, the third thing, requiring people, your client or prospect, to work to get the gift doesn't work anymore. And by that, I mean, forcing them to reply back to you to get the gift, or to recommend the site to other people to get the gift. Those things don't work nowhere near as well as they used to. But what does work is just offering the lead magnet freely with no obvious intent of asking them to join your list or make a purchase. In other words, just openly providing the link to the gift, whatever it might be, and just asking them to take a look at it. So what do you need to make this kind of lead magnet work? Well, first off, you got to have either a blog. It can be either self-hosted or one of the free blogs. Of course, if you've been to any of my past webinars, I don't advocate using free services as your main internet business sites, because you never know when something that's free is going to be taken away from you. But of course, if you're at the point where you can't afford self-hosting and you can't afford an autoresponder, try the free things at first just to see if you can get a response from it. But as soon as you see response, go ahead and invest in yourself and get the paid services, something that you know is going to be there when you need it. Then, of course, you need the content to create the lead magnet itself. And then lastly, of course, you got to have the Facebook, the Twitter, and the Amazon's account to be able to distribute the lead magnets that you create. There's a couple different ways of creating the content. First off, you can write it or create it yourself, depending on what kind of lead magnet you're creating. If it's an audio or a video, yeah, you can record it yourself. If it's a PDF or a report, you can write it yourself, or you can outsource it and have it written for you. And of course, my shameless little plug for my Wizard Outline Generator will help you with all this. You can plug in the answers there, and it'll give you 60 suggestions on what to create, content on. But generally, what you want to do is you just want to pick one topic and write about 2 to 3 pages on the topic, or in the case of audio or video, create, a 5 to 10 minute audio or video on that one topic. And like I said, it's really easy to do. If you're stuck for ideas on what to put in the content, you've got an idea for what you want to create it about, but you're kind of stuck on what to put in the content. Going to other blogs and forums is a great way to get ideas on what you can include on these lead magnets you create. Just look for common questions that people are asking or topics that they're discussing, and just create, a short little report or a video or audio around that one topic. Add a blurb on the very final page that says something to the effect like this: if you like this quickie report, video, audio, or whatever it might be, then visit my blog and register to get notices of new reports, videos, or audios, whatever it might be that I create. Just a simple suggestion asking them to visit your blog to get registered to be able to get notices of new things that you create. And of course, if you have a fan page, you can mention that too. Ask them to visit and like and share the fan page. And if you do have a fan page, you could actually put the link to the lead magnet you're creating over on the fan page. You could send people to the fan page to get the download link. And that works probably, I would recommend that over setting up a free blog somewhere or a free website. Depending on, how you handle the fan page, pretty much Facebook's going to leave it alone and let you have it and pretty much do what you want with it. Of course, they do have their own rules and regulations of what you can do on those fan pages. But for the most part, if you act responsibly, they're not going to take it away from you. And of course, that stands to reason, you're not going to break any copyright laws or trademark laws or anything like that when you create your fan page. But as opposed to setting up one of the Blogspot or a Squidoo Lens or a hub page spot, I would go with the fan page before I would go with any one of the other free things. Even the Weebly.com, where you can get a free website there, even though you can have those and Google, pretty much leaves them alone. You never know when Google's going to decide to clean house and take those out. So like I said, I would recommend, if you're going to use free services, to set up a fan page before any of the rest of them. Now, how do you distribute this lead magnet once you've created it? Well, before you want to distribute it, you want to make sure that you have your blog prepared or your fan page prepared with a prominent subscriber form in the sidebar. In other words, you want to make sure that there's some way on your blog, when you're mentioning visit my blog or visit my fan page, some way for them to register for you to be able to send them notices of new content that you created. Now, of course, like I said, you don't want to force the people to opt in to get the gift or whatever it is, but you want to make sure, that if they'd like to get more, that there's a way for them to register to get notices of more that you create. Mary's saying, no more Squidoo. Yeah, Squidoo's pretty much history now, so you can pretty much forget Squidoo, and Hub Pages is going the same way. But after you've got your blog or your fan page set up, to where people can register to get notices from you, just make a simple post on your Facebook wall, just telling people that you created this free report or audio or video or whatever it might be, PowerPoint slideshow, or even if in case of a piece of software that you've gotten that that you've it's been white labeled that you can rebrand or whatever. Just post a simple little message on your Facebook wall, just telling people about it and ask them for their opinion on it. Just ask them to reply back to you what they thought about it. And of course, like I said, the main idea is to get them to download the gift and to open it up, and then on the very last page or so, somewhere in there, redirect them back to your main website where you can get them to register to get new notices from you. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about, setting them up into an autoresponder series where you're going to send them a series of messages. Just some sort of a notifications list is all I'm talking about. Just it has just one message in it. It says, thanks for requesting notifications, and in case you missed the download link, here's the download link. Just some sort of simple message like that. That's all you need as far as a notifications list. And of course, you can join several Facebook groups and do the same thing. Just be cautious when you join Facebook groups that you don't go in there and that's the very first thing you do is go in there and tell them about something you created. Participate in the group for a little while, ask questions, get to know a few people, and then later, after people's got established, that you're not coming in there just to scam or spam them, then you can start posting, little blurbs about how you created this report on this topic or created a video or audio and get people to go to your blog or fan page to try to, to get them to download it. In other words, just act like a normal person. Don't go in there with the intent of, this is what you're wanting to do. You're wanting to build your list or you're wanting to sell a product right now. Just go in there and just join in the crowd and participate with them. And then after a while, after they've gotten to know you and people are responding back to you and you're responding back to people on the group, then, they won't have any problem at all with you posting occasional links to things that you've created that they can download. And you can do the same exact thing with your Twitter account. Now, Twitter is a little different than Facebook is as far as getting people to respond, because most people use Twitter from their smartphones now. Not many people use Twitter from their desktops as they used to. Most of the time it's from their smartphone now. So if you are going to distribute lead magnets using Twitter, you want to be able to create the lead magnet that a smartphone or a tablet would be able to use. And in most cases, a PDF would work great for a tablet, but for a smartphone, it might not be the best thing. So Audio and video work great as long as you don't use flash in them. The Apple products cannot handle flash, so considering that the iPhone and the iPad are the most popular mobile devices, you want to try to stay away from flash as much as you possibly can in audio and video. Pepe's saying, is this live? Yes, Pepe, this is live. We're doing this a live call right now. And when you created 5 to 10 of these, you can combine these lead magnets into one PDF and then upload them to the Kindle Marketplace. And at this point, when you've gotten that many of them together, you can actually, like I said, upload them to the Kindle Marketplace and sell them. And of course, if you watch one of my previous webinars where I talked about the KDP Select, once you've gotten enough in there, you could actually use the KDP Select to schedule, free weeks of the promotion that Amazon gives you. And if you have enough of them, say you have 6 to 12 of them, you could actually start building a list from that by having some sort of a promotion every week of these. Now, of course, it's going to take some time to be able to create that many of them. Kindle recommends that the books that you publish there have at least 2,500 to 4,000 words in them. So you're looking at a good, in the case of ebooks, a 2-3 page ebook, you're looking at a good 5 or so of them, maybe 7 or so to be able to meet that requirement. They will publish ones less than that, but they want the content you publish there to be able to be sold. So anything less than 2,500 to 4,000 words, they don't feel like people would pay for it. So that's why you would have to wait until you've collected at least 5 to 10 of them before you could do that. Now, if you do decide to combine them and publish them over on the Kindle Marketplace, be aware that you can only self-promote once inside the Kindle publication, and it can't be within the first few pages. The first 3 to 5 pages is a good rule of thumb. Try not to self-promote at all within that first few pages. And in fact, the very best place to advertise yourself, do self-promotion, is on the very last page. That way you're safe. You're not going to be breaking any of the rules, because they will allow you to do self-promotion once in the publication, but they don't want it to be the very first thing. And the reason why they don't want that is because a lot of people will preview the Kindle publication before they actually download it or purchase it, and they don't want an ad to be the very first thing they see when they're doing that preview. Okay, so here's some tips we've got for helping you create great lead magnets. One, you want to write titles that will attract attention and invoke curiosity. So try to think outside the box and create a title for the little gift that that would get people to be interested and see what it's about. Try to, like I said, invoke curiosity, appeal to their emotions. 2, people is going to judge you by the quality of the content, so don't skimp on it. If you have to, if you don't feel like you've got it in you to create good content, go ahead and outsource it. In previous webinars, I've given you several places that you can use to get content created for you. Some of them as cheap as a penny a word, and I would go that route before I would put out something that's sub quality, that people are going to judge you and may not come back to your blog at all because of what you gave them initially to start with. And in particular, when you're dealing with PLR, if you're going to use PLR, be sure and rewrite it enough to where it's unique. Don't make it something that's easily found, because you will have people that will recognize PLR and then will search on the internet, see if they can find it anywhere else. If they recognize it's just straight out PLR that you've repurposed and published it straight as is, well, then that puts a bad limelight on you, and they won't come back for any more of your content because they figure you're just using content that you've gotten somewhere else that's not really your opinion on anything. One good thing you can do is use the lead magnet to tell your story. A lot of people will do that, and I'll do this in mine. Is usually about the second or third page, probably usually about the third page or so. I guess I'll do a biography page, and sometimes that page will go for 2 pages where I'll just tell a little story about why I wrote the report that I did, or in the very beginning of an audio, I'll give a little explanation about why I created the audio or the video. That's a great place to do that right at the very beginning, just to get people to know you a little bit before you get into your content. The 4th thing is don't pitch anything. Instead just invite or suggest them to take action. In other words, don't make it a gift where you're actually trying to push a product or a service, just try to get them to come back to your main website, whether it be your blog or your fan page, and from there you can have ads on there that talks about your other products or services. Don't be afraid to use graphics. Even if you think you're putting in too many graphics, it's not. People love to see graphics that break up content. It makes it a more enjoyable reading experience if there's actually graphics that go along with the content. And there's so many places now where you can download free graphics. So, there's no reason why you can't have plenty of graphics in your reports, and especially in your videos. Even when you're doing PowerPoint videos, creating a video from a PowerPoint slideshow, be sure, even in Word, there's lots of clip art and things you can use in there just to spice it up, just to add some excitement. And of course, if you're on very many mailing lists, there's lots of offers you get, that has animations and things that you can use inside your PowerPoint slideshows. So don't be afraid to use those, 'cause like I said, when you break up the content by having an image in there, people enjoy it more. And plus, if it relates to the topic, it even helps them to remember the content more by seeing an image that goes along with it. So that's the last of our presentation there. And like I said, the Facebook is a great place to distribute these lead magnets you create. It's just like I said, people are tired of the like and share gates there now. They'd rather you give them a direct link. Now, sometimes you can link directly to a PDF on Facebook, and sometimes you can't. It just depends on, I think they scan the content. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but sometimes it won't let you link directly to a PDF. If it's actually a PDF that you're giving away, you may have to give the link to a page where they can go to download it. You can try it both ways, and like I said, it's like a 50-50 shot if you can link directly to a PDF on Facebook. Now, audios and videos, you can pretty much link to those. They'll create a direct link to those, no problem at all. But when it comes to the PDFs, like I said, you may wind up having to actually put it on a page for them to be able to go to and then download it from there. Again, like I said, Twitter, if you're going to use Twitter for distributing your lead magnets, be sure and make them to where they're mobile optimized, because most people use Twitter now from their smartphones and their tablet PCs. So make sure that you're really cautious about using Flash and any audio and video. PDFs work great, except that smartphones, they're not the best place to read a PDF. So if you're going to use Twitter, I would try to stay with small PDFs, that are really short. Don't make one that's really long, because a smartphone can't load a very good sized PDF to start with. In fact, probably once you've created the PDF, if it's more than 2 to 3 megabytes, I probably wouldn't distribute that on Twitter, because like I said, a smartphone has a hard time dealing with a PDF that's more than 2 or 3 megabytes. We're always saying Facebook changes their rules daily, maybe even hourly. Facebook tries to stay on top of what their users are doing, and if they see anything that's suspicious at all that they feel like might not give their users, a pleasant experience, they're going to put a squash on it really quick. So and like I said, it's a 50-50 shot with them if you're going to link directly to a PDF, whether it'll actually link inside your post or not. In fact, just to be on the safe side, considering you've got to have a blog or a fan page one, I would go ahead and put the download on one of those two places first and just provide the link to it instead of trying to link directly to a PDF in a post. Okay, did you guys have any questions on that before we move to the questions that I got in emails? Okay, Kathy's got one. When I join a Facebook group, my personal user name shows up. Will setting up a fan page change that appearance to my business name? Once you've got a fan page set up, Kathy, you can switch to using Facebook as your fan page. That's one of the things that they allow you to do. You can go up in the top right hand corner and select that use Facebook as, and you can select one of your fan pages to make posts in a group. Now, some groups don't allow that, though. You can go, the moderator of the group can go in and disallow people that post from their fan page. So it just depends on the moderator of the group whether they've disabled that or not, but most of them don't know how to do that. So you're pretty much safe. In most groups you'll be able to do that, but that does work, and it's really effective to do that, to select that use Facebook as your fan page and make the post in a group about the lead magnet you've created, because not only are you giving them a link to the lead magnet that you've created, but you're also, promoting your fan page as well. And once you get people that like your fan page, they get notices about anything that you post over on your fan page. Another good thing to do over on Facebook, and groups are really, really popular there now, is to create a group that you invite people to. You could also do that as well in your lead magnet, invite people to join your group. That also shows up in their notifications too whenever somebody makes a post to the group, so those will work really well. Okay, let's open up the questions that I got from this past week. Got a few here, and then I actually got a couple of demos to do for you guys. Kathy, that's on our call tonight, actually sent in a couple of questions, asked me to do a couple of demos for you guys. The first question is, should we worry about having mobile responsive websites? And just as I was talking about a few minutes ago, more and more people are using their smartphones and their tablet PCs to use the internet. So yeah, you should be thinking about, making your blogs and just regular web pages mobile responsive. That's getting easier to do now. There's lots of themes now that are mobile responsive right out of the box when you install them. And then there are some plugins you can get for your blog that will make it mobile responsive. Now, when it comes to static web pages, that actually boils down to having the HTML code to be mobile responsive, and that's a little tougher to do, and it's not as easily found when especially if you're listing, products for sale or whatever. The sales pages generally aren't mobile responsive, but they're getting to be more and more of them that are. So, I would say within the next couple of years, you're going to start seeing more and more of them, that come mobile responsive right out of the box. But as far as the blogs go, there's, most of them, there's several different free themes that you can get that, will make your blog mobile responsive. And like I said, there are plugins that will take a theme that you already have and try to convert it over to its mobile responsive. But yeah, it's getting to where now there's probably 60% of the people use the internet from a mobile device now. Most of the people that use it from their desktop now are usually at work or at school. So it is definitely something you need to consider now. The next question is actually based upon a couple of questions that somebody had in their autoresponder account. One wants to know what's a good amount of unsubscribes when list building, and it just depends on what kind of list building you're doing. If you're participating in giveaway events or free events like that, or even private giveaway events, you can expect probably 40 to 50% of the people to unsubscribe. The general popularity of people that go to those events are looking for, some sort of a free gift, and they'll stay on somebody's list for, a little while, and then they'll unsubscribe. Some people unsubscribe immediately. I know the giveaway that Roy and I are just now finishing up, we got over 1,000 people to subscribe to our list, but I was looking at GetResponse today, and a good 40 to 50% of them have already unsubscribed. So seeing, that many people unsubscribe from a free list building event is not unusual. Now, if you're actually buying solo ads from a solo ad provider, generally those people will stay on your list quite a bit longer. You should see with them within the first 30 days, 20 to 30% of those unsubscribe. When you're building a buyer's list, those people for the most part will stay on your list for a good 3 to 6 months before they'll unsubscribe, and then some of them will stay on your list forever. Depends on what kind of product it is they bought from you. There might be updates for it, but generally when you're doing free list building, it's not uncommon to see 50% unsubscribes, and within 30 days you'll see most of that happen. And the next question was from the same person again about his autoresponder account. Wants to know what are bounces that I see in my autoresponder account. There's two different types of bounces that you see, and what a bounce is in general, it means that the email wasn't able to be delivered. And there's two different kinds of bounce. You've got a soft bounce and you've got a hard bounce. A soft bounce is the type where the person subscribed to your mailing list, and then when they were sent an email, it got rejected for delivery because maybe the mailbox was full, or maybe the mail server was having problems and couldn't deliver the email at that time. And that's what they call a soft bounce, and then your autoresponder account will try to deliver it again at a later time. Hard bounce is when somebody has either made an error in entering their email address or their domain name or something like that, and the email address doesn't exist, or the mail server itself is rejecting uh, what they call bulk email, which is what they consider, emails from AWeber and GetResponse and other autoresponders. They consider that bulk mailing. It could be that that mail server is just rejecting those type altogether, or it could be that the IP address of your domain name has been black flagged. That happens a lot if you're on shared hosting and you have somebody else that's on the shared hosting that will go out and buy these email lists and start spamming a bunch of people, and they'll get the IP address of that hosting account blacklisted. And it's not that you have done it, it's just that somebody else on that same shared account has done it and got that IP address into the blacklist. Hard bounces are never delivered a second time. They're marked as undeliverable, and your autoresponder account should delete those for you automatically. It can take, anywhere from 2 weeks to a month for them to actually prune those out, but they should delete those for you automatically. And with the soft bounces, it just depends on the autoresponder company itself. Sometimes it's 3 times after a soft bounce, they'll automatically put them in the delete list. And sometimes, it could be, 5 to 7 times before they'll put them there. It just depends on how the autoresponder company has it set up for dealing with soft bounces. Okay, and then like I said, the next 2 questions I got are actually from Kathy, who's live on her call tonight. She asked me to demo a couple of things. Let me read the questions to you first, and then we'll actually go out to desktop so I can demo these for you. The first one she asked is, I'm not always sure what the folders are that Create a Website are for. Sometime on one of the webinars, would you be able to explain the types of folders and what they can be called? I've seen a lot of different names for appears to be the same folders and the purpose for each one of them. And then the second question she asked, she said, I would like an explanation on how to create a professional looking email address and have it redirect to one of my Gmail addresses. And she talks about how she found an explanation on HostGator and was ready to set it up, and then somebody told her that it's better to have a Gmail account to do a Gmail fetch instead of redirecting. Okay, so if we're still live, let me pull this down, make sure we're still live, and if we are, I'll demo both of these for you guys. Okay, so once you're logged into the back end of your cPanel website, you'll see a screen something similar to this if your web hosting is using cPanel. If you click the File Manager link here, it'll pull up an actual directory listing of your website. Now this is what it looks like in File Manager. I'll also show you this here in just a second inside of an FTP client. But what Kathy was asking about is what these different folders are. One of them that you'll see commonly is this CGI-bin, and that's a place where you can put executable scripts, website scripts that you might be using for, like email or images or web forms and that type of thing. And then if you've got a blog installed, you'll see several directories that start with WP, like this one's WP-admin. That's actually the admin side of your blog. WP content is actually the content that's in your blog. Now, all the contents in a blog is actually stored inside of a database, but there are folders and files inside this WP content that will actually manipulate that data that's inside your database. And then you'll see a WP includes folder, and that's actually the internal working scripts, the PHP scripts that make your blog work. Below that, you'll see several different files listed here, and most of these are WordPress related. You don't ever want to mess with any of these. You don't want to overwrite any of these. So when you're uploading pages to your website through FTP, be sure that if it asks if you're going to overwrite one of these main pages out in the main root of your blog, that you don't overwrite it, because you could be killing the functionality of your blog. But now if we go into WP content, which is some place you may occasionally FTP files, inside there you'll see a plugins folder, a themes folder, an upgrade folder, an uploads folder, and then you'll see an index PHP, which is placed there just to keep people from browsing your folders. The two places where you might upload things to a blog would be the plugins folder. If you go into the plugins folder, you'll see individual folders in there, usually for the different plugins that you have installed. If you click the up one level there inside File Manager, you can go back, and then themes would be the very same thing. You'll see a folder for every one of the themes that you have installed in your blog. And sometimes you can, most of the time you can upload plugins and themes from inside your blog and it works okay and you don't have any problem, but occasionally you'll run into one where you may have to upload it through FTP manually, and that's wherein you would upload them into this WP content. It would be a plugin would go inside the plugins folder. You would just unzip the plugin on your hard drive and then FTP the whole folder up into this plugins folder, just like this Askamet, which is a default plugin that WordPress installs. That's actually a plugin. And again, it's the same thing with themes. Each theme has its own folder. You would unzip the theme on your hard drive and then use an FTP client to upload that whole folder into this themes folder that's on your website. Now, let's show you what it looks like from an FTP client. Now, I'm using Flash FXP. It looks similar to just about every FTP program there is out there. Most people use something like FileZilla, or Qt FTP is another popular one. Fire FTP is another one that's used inside Firefox browser. It's a plugin that you can get for the Firefox browser. But basically they both have the same, or not both, but most all FTP programs operate the same way. They'll, over on the left hand side, they're showing the folders and files that's on your hard drive. Then over here on the right hand side, they actually show what's in your website that you're uploading to. Depending on how your FTP program is set up, how you connect. Mine is set up to, I just click this connect, and then I can do a quick connect. I can set up a new connection, or I can reconnect to the last one I was in, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to reconnect to the website we were just in. Now, usually when you first log into through FTP, it takes your usually log into the main root of your web host, and these are the files. These are all system files, and you don't ever want to overwrite any of these files in here at all. cPanel add-ons has to do with your cPanel setup. The programs that run inside your cPanel. Of course, cPanel has your settings for your cPanel. Fantastico is, again, part of cPanel. Like I said, these are all system folders. You don't ever want to rename or overwrite any of these, and you generally don't want to upload into any of these except for this one right here, which is the public HTML. That is the main root folder of your website. So if we go into it, we see basically the same thing that we've seen in File Manager. You see the CGI bin folder, you see the WordPress folders, and then you see the WordPress files. Again, when you're uploading files, if it asks you if you're going to overwrite something, be sure that if it's something here in the main root of your folder, one of these WordPress files, you don't overwrite it. A lot of times you'll see blogs installed under a subfolder called blog, and you'll see these files and folders here under the subfolder of a blog. So that's basically what it is. These are just like the folders that are on your hard drive. Like I said, you can go in there and you can see the different subfolders that are under them. Like if we go back into the WP content through our FTP client, you can see the plugins, the themes, and the upgrade and the uploads folder, just like we seen when we were in File Manager. Again, like I said, the places where you're most likely to upload to would be the plugins and the themes folder. Like if we go in there again, so you see the Askamet folder. And if we go back up and we go into the themes folder, you see the folders for the individual themes that are installed on this blog. But basically, like I said, when you first log in, you're going to probably be at this screen here, which is the main uh, folder for your website. Uh, most of the system stuff. The only folder you probably want to go into would be this public HTML. Sometimes it's called www, like I have that one here, this www. You can click on that and it goes into the same folder. So these are the folders that you want to mess with. That is the public HTML or the www. You don't want to mess with the other ones that are up above that at all. And like I said, when you're uploading in here, if it asks you if you want to overwrite something, just be sure that you're not overwriting something if you've got a blog installed that's anything to do with your blog, unless that's your purpose. You're uploading something, a file that's supposed to correct something in the blog or whatever, and that of course would depend on what you're uploading. It'll give you usually instructions on telling you if you need to overwrite something or not. Now let's go into the CGI bin one here, and we'll actually upload something here. We'll upload this one file here. Now you can just take usually and just drag them over, but generally what I do is I just right click on them and just go transfer. And once the file is there, you can right click on it, and your FTP program will give you several different options. One you'll most likely use the most would be this attributes, the chmod attribute. You can go into that and you can change the permissions on a file. And again, it depends on what you're uploading. They'll usually tell you what you need to set this stuff, and basically what you do is you just put the check marks in here for whatever it might be that you're wanting to change the permissions for. And once you've selected the ones you want, you just click OK, and then it actually changes the permissions on that file that you just uploaded. I'm going to click cancel on it, and I'm actually going to just leave that in there. But that's basically what it is with the folders on a website. Like I said, the public HTML is the one where you'll be uploading files to. And like I said, once you're in there, you'll see common folders like this, the CGI bin, and folders if you've got a blog installed that start with WP. And then WordPress files generally start with WP itself down through here. And the main file that your web server pulls up is this index.php, and sometimes it's index.html. In the case of a blog, it's called index.php. But anyway, that's a little quick primer on FTP and the folders that are inside of a website. Now, her next question was about how to set up an email. So we'll close out File Manager here. And back inside our cPanel, we'll click on Email Accounts. And the question she had was, is it better to set up a redirect for a support address as opposed to setting up an email account that you'd have Gmail log into and fetch the email? And I like to set up real email accounts, especially for main ones like a support account. And basically what you would do is here at the top, you would just type in the first part of the address, like this one's going to be support. You can use a password generator to generate a good password for it. Just be sure that you highlight and copy it. Just highlight it there like that. Right click on it. And select copy. Then put this check mark in here that you have copied the password. And then click use password. And then you could set a mailbox quota, which tells it how much email this account can receive. I generally set mine for unlimited, but you can set a certain amount depending on how much email you think you're going to get to it. And then just click create account. Now if I wanted to set up a forwarding account, I would go back out to cPanel, and I would go click on the forwarders here, and you would click this button that says, let me click it here, there we go. Click this button that says add forwarder, and when you would type in the forwarder, and we're just going to set up a dummy one here, so we'll call it test. and you would use this first box here. It says forward to an email address, and that's where you'd put in your Gmail email address. Let's see, my Gmail at gmail.com. And if you see the little green check boxes here, it means you've got everything right in here, and you just click add forwarder. Now what that does is, if I had actually set this one up, if an email came in to this domain addressed it to test@hoagie.org, it would actually forward the email directly to whatever Gmail I set up here, which my dummy one I set up is mygmail@gmail.com. That works pretty good in that if your hosting provider, like if you've got a good hosting provider, the emails will get forwarded there. The only problem you have with that is if you actually want to use that email address to reply, when you do replies like that and people receive when they go to reply back, a lot of times the mail servers won't deliver them. So that's wherein they tell you that if you're going to use one account to check all your email accounts, to set up a Gmail account and go into Gmail settings and set up the pop and inbox settings to actually check another email address. And that's wherein with this one, what I would do is I'd go back when I like I said, I would create a real email box. Like I said, I created this support one. I could have Gmail log into this account and retrieve the emails, and they would all be in that one Gmail account. You can set up Gmail to you can reply to those emails, and like I said, those won't get rejected by the mail service because they'll see that it's actually a real email box not being forwarded. Anyway, that's the basic answers on setting up a virtual address where it forwards to another address. It works. Most hosting providers are up. They claim 99.9% of the time. So you're probably not going to lose the email. It's just replying back to them could be the problem, because other mail servers can detect that it's a forwarded address, and sometimes they won't accept the emails back from an email address that's been forwarded. Okay, Kathy's asking, what if you upload something new and also want to keep the overwritten files? In that case, if you're actually wanting to upload, let's say you want to test a new page, and there's already a page on there that's got the same file name, what you could do is just rename that file before you upload it to put like a number after it. Like in the case of an index.html, I would call it index2.html, then upload that. That way it won't overwrite the original one. And that way in your browser you could pull up, yourdomain.com/index2.html, and you can see if that page works. And if it works fine, the way you want it to, then you can go back in through your FTP or cPanel and delete the original file that that you were wanting to update, and then just rename that index2.html to index.html. That's a good way to test things. And another way of doing it is you can actually set up a test folder. Just create a folder called test on your web server and just upload files like that you're wanting to test into that test folder. I have, on most of my websites, I have a folder set up like that where I just upload files to so I can test them. Then after I see that, if they work right, well, then I'll use my FTP client to just upload them to the main folder after that, after I see that they work right. Mary says you couldn't see. Y'all didn't get to see any of that demo of the FTP and the file manager? Okay, that was the questions that I got in the emails. Do you guys have any other questions before we... Okay, Kathy. Yeah, I apologize. I thought you guys, like I said, I don't know when I'm out on desktop share if you guys are seeing it or not. If I have any connection problems at all, then you guys don't get to see it, and I hate it when that happens. That's why I try to avoid the desktop shares. I should have, if I'd have had enough time, I just got your question in before the call. If I'd have had enough time, I would have recorded the video and played the video for you guys. That seems to work a lot better when I need to show you guys something, is to have an actual video I can play. You never know with these desktop shares if you guys are going to see what I'm actually doing or not. Okay, well, like I said, this is the last email that you'll get from the regular list. If you want to get notices of the next calls, I'm sure most everybody here has already signed up for the new notifications list. Next week I'll be using the new notification list only, so you won't be getting emails from the regular lists at all next week. If you're not on that notification list, you won't get the notices about the calls at all. You know, Roy, I didn't think about that, but that would be a good idea. Uh, we may have to try that next time when I do a desktop share. If you guys get disconnected, try that ring bell thing, because I do hear those. I hear when somebody enters a room, and I hear when they leave. So that might be the thing to do, is try that ring bell if it goes to a black screen again. I didn't think about that. That's a good idea, Roy. We'll have to experiment with that and try that. Because I hate it when I switch out to desktop and you guys lose the connection. Oh, Mary says she did try it. Okay, well, I didn't hear it. So apparently the ring bell don't work when you're in desktop. But I do hear you guys logging in and out. It does tell me that. I hear the little knock sounds when somebody leaves, or the closed door sound when somebody leaves. So those do work, but apparently the ring bell thing doesn't work. Okay, well, now we know. Mary says she tried it. Okay, well, we're running a little over an hour. I didn't want to keep you guys too long. If there's not any other questions, we'll go ahead and call it a night tonight. Like I said, I apologize for y'all not being able to see the demo, but like I said, it's being recorded, so you'll get to see it in the replay. It might be something I need to activate, Roy. I'll look into the settings to see if it is something I need to activate. I thought I had all that stuff activated, but maybe I don't. I'll look into that. Mary says I was just ringing it now, but it doesn't work. Right now, it won't let me get into the settings while I'm on a live call, so I can't get into the settings at all. So it'll have to be something after I log out. I'll have to check the settings. But we'll see what we can do about that. There's got to be some way you guys let me know. Maybe I can keep Skype running. Somebody can send me a message through Skype. Maybe that's a good solution. Anyway, I need to know when you guys can't see. So, it's not a good thing when I'm sitting here doing this demo and you guys can't see it. Anyway, thanks for coming again tonight, guys. Like I said, next week we kick off the official relaunch of the Here to Help You webinars. You'll see lots of changes. I'm going to start bringing some more people to the calls. Invite people to the calls. Bring somebody with you next week. Like I said, if we can get more people in here, I can get some people on here live to do live demos for you guys and live presentations. So next week we're going to kick off the official launch of this, since it's been going 6 months now, and you guys have helped made it a success. So hopefully next week we're going to start seeing some more people come in the next months. And like I said, I'd like to see a good 100 people in here every Monday night. If we could get a good 100 people in here on Monday nights, we could get some people to come to these calls. But thanks for coming tonight, guys, and I appreciate you spending your time with me. There'll be a form on the replay where you can send your questions in for next week. And of course, most of you have my contact email address, and most of you that are in the inner circle have the private message board that you can contact me. So you got several ways you can contact me, and then the Skype itself. So thanks for coming again tonight, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next week's call. Have a good night, everybody.